Hey, how's it going? Welcome to Acc Wednesday, 26th of May 2021. We're looking at the front of the papers. First up, New York Times. Picture from the scene where George Floyd was killed a year ago. Hard to believe that. Feels like 10 years. Beside that, US is looking to rebuild ties to the Palestinians. Okay, more on that in a sec. Pentagon speeds Afghanistan exit despite worries. Down the bottom, picture Andrew Yang taking a selfie, not wearing a mask. Tut tut, he's running for New York mayor. Down the bottom, cicadas arrive on the menu. Okay, bugs and burritos, sounds good. Texas to loosen gun rules, so you're basically going to be able to walk around with an open carry handgun, no permit or anything required. Drama anticipated in Britain, so Dominic Cummings is going to testify against Boris Johnson today. More on that in a sec as well. New York Times International Edition, picture from Belarus. Opinion piece on the left from Palestinian says why Hamas is irrelevant actually. Subheadline says the right to self-defense against Israel's continued aggression belongs to all Palestinians. Okay, and over on the right, something by Max Fisher saying US loses leverage as Israel grows self-reliant. So trying to argue that Israel doesn't need the US so much, but presumably the US still needs Israel. I'm not so sure I believe that take there. Something about India vaccines. Pandemic-inspired cocktails to go are here to stay. Alright, so drinking in public is going to be basically legal in most countries. That's good. There's Antony Blinken, US Foreign Affairs man, shaking hands with the Prime Minister of Israel. US sale of arms to United Arab Emirates gets new scrutiny. Alright, the Exxon CEO faces showdown over the oil giant's future. So something to do with an investor who invested in Exxon and wants to basically force them to decarbonize by 2050, something like that. Or to be carbon neutral. Sounds good on the surface, but I honestly don't know a lot about it. They're about the George Floyd killing as well. The debate on race simmers. Okay, so it's simmering, it might boil over. District of Columbia suing Amazon over price fixing. Alright, USA Today, the whole thing's handed over to discussion of George Floyd and more generally race issues in America. Up the top, oh my god, Judge Judy is stopping after 25 seasons, very sad. Financial Times, stealth curbs provoke anger, this is in the UK. The British government came out and tried to lock down some local areas, but they messed it up and said sorry, it was a mistake. Rishi Sunak proposes powers to block London listings over security risks. So basically trying to say that if foreign actors who they don't like want to float in the stock market or make money, they're not going to let them do it. Down the bottom, there's a picture of Putin and Biden. They're going to meet next month in Geneva. So that'll be a nightmare dinner party. Orban visits cast cloud over Johnson's hopes for anti-authoritarian G7 push. So Viktor Orban, right-winger from Hungary, is going to visit Boris on Friday in Downing Street. I'm sure that'll be a meeting of the minds. Irish Times, dramatic-looking picture of police officers holding guns. 2 police shot during West Dublin house siege. Some kind of a thing happened yesterday. Not a big deal. I guess they were injured. It's a big deal in Ireland because I guess gun crime is so rare. Story there about vaccinations. Government spending forecast lack credibility. This is the Irish Fiscal Advisory Council, who were set up after the financial crisis. It was forced by the IMF that they had to set up these independent bodies, and they're criticising the government's budget, saying it's not realistic, etc. Irish Examiner, picture of a woman holding a trophy on the front. Dáil, that's the Irish Parliament, set to recognise Palestine annexation. Good, I guess. 72 years too late, but thanks, I guess. Story about the Gardaí getting shot. Story there about fishermen protesting. They're going to deliver a letter to the Taoiseach, Micheál Martin, kind of saying that Brexit and stuff is killing them and they need some help. Millions of mice plague Australia, okay? Experts call for global cyber treaty. Okay, Digital Geneva Convention needed to tackle cybercrime. This is in the wake of the attack on the health service, and one thing about the attack on the health service was that the software that was used is normally seen being used by state actors. So I guess some people who are conspiracy minded are kind of saying, well, maybe it was a government attack to kind of justify the need for more cybersecurity to feed into the arms industrial complex or whatever, to produce more like weapons of defense against this type of things. So that could be to do with that there. That sounds a little bit like what's happening there. In front of the Irish Independent, Commandant Kate Hanrahan standing in front of the Custom House in Dublin. 100 years ago it was burned by the IRA because it was like one of the centres of British power, and so they're commemorating it maybe. Economy set to bounce back, but we risk repeating the mistakes of boom. That's the whole economy described in a nutshell. Boom and bust all the way. Story there about the guards getting shot. Irish Daily Mail, something about eating out. No vaccine bonus for dining out. Okay, if you're vaccinated, you won't get any special treatment or anything. Horses are helping nurses heal after COVID. That's great. Horses are great. Big story there in front of the Irish Sun is this cop shoot story. They've also got a picture of the man who looks like he's naked. I'm not sure. He's definitely not got a top on. Looks fairly red. Looks like he's just come back from a holiday in Santa Ponsa. Next up, Guardian, snail wars. Is this a fight gardeners can ever win? No way. Snails are super resilient. You cannot stop them unless you step on them. Picture there of George Floyd's family in the White House, presumably talking to Nancy Pelosi, who's not wearing a mask. Tut tut. Anger forces climb down over travel restrictions. Okay, ministers were forced to climb down about the hotspots. Yeah, they kind of said local lockdowns and stuff, but then they backtracked on it. Report on Islamophobia whitewashes Tories. So some reporting the Conservative Party, which is basically conducted by themselves, is being criticised because there's no Islamophobia. Story there, Dominic Cummings attacks the Prime Minister on eve of date with MPs. So Dominic Cummings is going to be up today. More on that in a sec. The English Times, there's Boris out walking his dog. Per dog, I feel from. Johnson takes lead on stiffer sentences for dog nappers. Bizarre puff piece on the front of the Times. Something about vaccines, celebrity stuff. Daily Tory graph. National Trust chief resigns amid woke revolt. This story, I don't know. The National Trust in England is a charity that looks after heritage sites, and this guy, whatever his name is, commissioned a report that basically said, all this heritage and stuff we have tied into colonialism and slavery and how the wealth got accrued. And that apparently didn't please the board, and so they kind of ousted him there. He was forced to retire his position. Lockdown stuff. Islands maybe next on green list, even if country remains amber. That's something to do with saying you can go to like the Balearic Islands, Ibiza and stuff, even if Spain is on the list. Yeah. Down there seems like a smear piece against the Black Lives Matter activist who was shot and was in the hospital. Shot Black Lives Matter activist facing race charge. Okay, so they've dug up something better there. Royal Navy appoints first female admiral. Well done. Independent, Gordon Brown, something about tax reform, cabinet reshuffle, travel, football, some interview with children's author Michael Rose and how he fought COVID, something to do with the lockdowns, Daily Express, don't know what this is, celeb stuff. Getting hotter, no stopping the house price boom. Okay, good time if you own a house, bad time if you don't own a house. There's Kate looking pretty happy on the front. Something about Freedom Day coming, opening up again. iNewspaper, accidental lockdown story. Something about Boris. Will you be cooking with bugs? I already do. Bugs are great. Put them in your cereal, whatever you want. It's quick change Kate. 2 pictures of Kate. Double the royal, same royal. It's like she's twins. It's like she's, there's 2 of them there. Imagine that. Bella No Mates, story about Belarus. Airlines avoid rogue nation after state-sponsored hijack of holiday jet. So planes are not flying over it, and planes are not being allowed to fly to there either. And apparently the state airline Belavia said it would lay off half of its staff after all the EU airports banned it. So, I mean, this story about Belarus, like, when was the last time you heard about Belarus in the news? Exactly. So this is only coming up now because of this hijack and suppose it took place in Europe. I guess it's given them a chance to lash on some restrictions, which is kind of good, but the story was happening for a long time before anyone took interest. It was just fine. It was just there, just tipping away, simmering in the background of the modern Cold War. 2 other countries that spring to mind straight away would be like Libya and also Kyrgyzstan. Haven't heard about them in a while, but definitely some bad stuff going on. Daily Mail, Boris again. Prime Minister wanted to be infected with COVID on live TV and called the virus Kung Flu. So this is like what Dominic Cummings is going to be saying today, apparently. I don't think people would be annoyed about Boris saying that. They'll probably respect him more, which is probably why it's on the front of the Daily Mail. There's Kate again wearing a mask, waving. Something there to do with retail places being bought up by equity firms and loads of people being laid off because of the pandemic. Daily Mirror, Boris gave Super League the nod. People might be annoyed at him over that he gave his go-ahead to the Super League, not about the other stuff. Dominic Cummings claims he ranted COVID is only killing 80-year-olds. All right. Daily Star... Spacebot fears everything we know about the universe could be wrong and we could actually all be holograms. That would be amazing. That would mean that none of this is important. None of this is important anyway. If you want to stay off corporate media for the day, just click the link in the description. Alright, take it easy. Good luck.